state after Manipur High Court directed the state government to consider inclusion of the Meitei community in scheduled tribes list. Amidst all of this, Home Minister Amit Shah is on a 3-day visit to the violence-hit state and will assess the situation. He's expected to land in Manipur tonight. The big question is, what really is the way forward? How can this decades-long battle between the Kukis and the Meiteis communities be sorted? And how long will it take to restore normalcy in the state? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit. First, let's take a look at Union Home Minister Amit Shah's plan as he starts on a 3-day visit to violence-hit Manipur. As I mentioned, he'll land in Imphal later tonight. According to MHA sources, Home Minister Amit Shah is likely to stay in Manipur till the 31st of this month. He's scheduled to visit violence-affected areas and also meet with some victims. Home Minister shall also meet security forces in the state and assess the security situation. He may meet Kuki and Meitei community organizations as well during his visit. But why are the two communities fighting? By now, you may have heard about this, but just to refresh your memory, about 59% of known tribal population, the Meiteis, occupy just 10% of the land in Manipur. The remaining 41% tribal population enjoys the state's 90% territory. Non-tribal communities there are also not allowed to be landowners in that 90% area. So non-tribals are facing a land and space crunch due to an increase in the population, but no access to more land or to expand. Because of the same reason, Meitei community's demand of recognition as the ST was accepted, which later led to the flaring up of this conflict all over again. Let's also take a deep dive into what both parties are saying, what both sides are saying as far as this divide is concerned. So the Meiteis, of course, say that they were recognized as a tribe before 1949, so they've been fighting for that right again. The Kukis say that the Meitei are an advanced community in the state, so they should not have that tribal tag like them. Meiteis claim they need to preserve their community as well and save their ancestral land. The Kukis say that the inclusion of the Meiteis under ST will lead to loss of jobs for them, that is the tribals. The Meiteis say they are being victimized without any constitutional safeguard. The Kukis say the Meiteis can be recognized as SCs or OBCs, but should not be put under the ST category. CM Biren Singh has blamed Kuki insurgents for the violence. Let me give you a little bit of an insight on what these Kuki terrorists are and what their background is. So currently they are active in northeast India and also northwest Myanmar. Their aim is to create a separate state specifically for the Kuki community. The demand for Kuki land began in late 1980s, which gave birth to the Kuki National Organization. The insurgents want to restore the ancestral Kuki territory according to them, and Kuki land also includes regions that are actually not part of India. So the big first debate coming in, even as Home Minister Amit Shah is embarking on this all-important visit to Manipur, what really can be the way ahead?
Situation remains tensed in Manipur. Right now we are standing in the heart of Imphal, but the entire Imphal is deserted. None of the shops are open. You can see behind me the roads. Very few emergency vehicles are flying in.
Mass combing operations along with the helicopter surveillance has started, and we're trying to find out if the culprits, those militants who are attacking the civilians.
Amit Shah will be coming to Manipur in Imphal, and he will hold rounds of meeting with the Chief Minister, with the forces. That's what we are getting it from the sources.
मंगलवार के दिन प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया से टाइम पूछे हैं। हम जाकर डेलीगेशन में जाकर उनसे मिलेंगे और मिलकर उनसे ये सारी चीज़ें बताएंगे।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Rajat Sethi is a former advisor to the Manipur CM. Nishikant Sapam, independent MLA from the Meitei community, is joining us. Meeta Chakrabarti is a Congress spokesperson. Also, Rami Niranjan Desai is an author who's worked extensively on the Northeast region. Let me begin with a couple of our experts before I bring in a political guest. Rami, why don't I begin with you? It's been a month. Many people would say the situation should have been controlled by now. So where are we going wrong as far as controlling the situation is concerned, and what needs to be done?
Good evening, Shivani. I'm really glad that news channels like yours are following this up on a day-to-day basis. Having said that, as you mentioned, I have been traveling the Northeast for the last 15 years. I've seen Northeast in in a state of flux, in relative conflict, and I've seen Northeast in the last 5 years in relative peace. And this is absolutely unfortunate, but the fact of the matter is that the genesis of this sort of conflict is not new. It has its roots in history. And this is not just a Kuki or a Maiti conflict. There is a Maiti, there's a Kuki and a sub-clan Kuki conflict as well. If you look at 1997, there was a huge conflict huge clashes between the Kukis and the Paitis, So this has been going on for a while. And of course, things are always sensitive. I have found, and I have focused on insurgency and conflict in this region, and I found that Manipur to be one of the most complex states, if we were to look at it from the spectrum of security. There are no easy answers here. Apart from the inter-ethnic tribes, under the umbrella of one tribe also you have ethnic conflict, plus you have the Myanmar border, which directly impacts us, and one cannot deny the influx of migration. 30,000 refugees from the same Kukichin clan have been registered in Mizoram. Unfortunately, there hasn't been that kind of registration in Manipur. But, there's no way to deny that there hasn't been a demographic change. So there are lots of, multi-levels of insecurities on both ends. There are multi-levels, layers of problems on both ends. And I'm sure we'll come to those questions later. But having said that, there are no easy answers. And I think the fact of the matter is that, our Home Minister is going there to review the situation.
Yeah.
And at this point, the security spectrum is the only spectrum that we can view this situation with and keep it calm, because any sentence, any statement, any move is going to flare the situation up.
Okay.
Having said that, I noticed some protests. Last point, Shivani, I noticed some protests a couple of days ago where they demanded a solution before peace. I can say that there might be multiple ways to get to a solution which will take time. That is not one of it. You cannot have a solution before peace.
Right. We were also running some fresh visuals we've received of certain members of the communities welcoming Amit Shah, and obviously there will be a lot of anticipation in the communities who have been ravaged by violence. A lot of their homes have been lit up and set to arson, so that there is some peace and calm that comes back. Rajat, I want to come to you. The Chief Minister says that actually this is not a conflict between the two communities. It is basically Kuki terrorists who are terrorizing members of the communities. But would that be a one-sided way to look at this?
It is certainly a very major part of the problem. If you have terrorists wielding weapon and moving around freely and causing an atmosphere of fear among the communities, no peace process can start. And I think at this stage, Amit Shah ji going there will be the neutral arbiter who can sit with these communities and at least ensure first the militant elements are removed, their weapons are seized before any process can start. I agree with the Honorable Chief Minister here that with Kuki militants, which are being currently seen to be spread across low-lying hills surrounding the Imphal Valley, if they continue with their violent streak, if they continue wielding AK-56 and semi-automatic machine guns and pointedly targeting at the Meitei community, no talks can begin, because then the Meitei community will retaliate.
Yeah.
And, violence cannot be an answer at this stage, and you require serious deliberations between the heads of both the communities to sit across the table and at least find a common ground. And before that, the militants have to be handled, because these militants are destroying any kind of initiative that the political establishment would be interested in. Therefore,
But-
I think a ruthless approach of taming these militant and the terrorist groups that are out there is of paramount importance.
I agree with you there. Obviously, without that, nothing else can work. But what is the long-term solution? The Metis want the tribal tag. The cookies are not willing to let them have it. I've just briefly explained some of the conflicts that are, emerging because of the land ownership issues. What is the larger solution? And one question I want to understand from all of our guests: is it fair to deny somebody else a tag that they have gone to court and won, or the government maybe look at it favorably? Can we give communities a right that by violence they can deny someone else the right to agitate for what they are wanting? Because that seems to be essentially what's playing out here. Rajat first, then I'll go to Mr. Nishikant.
Well, your point is correct, and I believe Nishikantji will also agree with this. Any negotiations without fear or favor, that should be the way forward. Fear because of any militant groups trying to push an agenda on communal lines should not be acceptable. And I think this is where the state administration, the central administration, everybody is geared towards, is to identify, eliminate any terror activities happening there, ensure there is the right atmosphere for negotiations to initiate. And once that is there, of course, it's a zero-sum game. And for every such conflicts, there are always ways that you can perhaps create one common ground from where you'd start the deliberations and push the things forward. At this stage, I mean, if the current violence continues the way it is continuing, I really doubt that what's going to happen in the next 3 days that the Honorable Home Minister is there.
Okay.
Therefore, I think what the Chief Minister has been doing is to tame the violence over there unleashed by the militant outfits. That's of paramount importance, and that should be finished off before any talks start. This is my independent opinion.
Right. Nishikant Sapam is from the Methi community. I want to understand from you. Yes, of course, immediate priority is to bring calm and peace to the state. And obviously, all agencies will be employed with that primary motive. But just speaking a little bit beyond that, what is it that the Methi community wants as a solution out of this conflict? You've seen the reaction of the Kuki community or the Kuki militants, terrorists, whichever way you want to look at it. The Methi community has been asking for the scheduled tribe right, because clearly it is essential to their survival in the state, but obviously it is being opposed. What do you hope to achieve in the near future? Nishikantji, can you hear me? If that was for you, if you can go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Nishikantji, I can hear you. If you can hear me, please go ahead. That question was for you.
Okay, now I'll tell you one thing. You see, first of all, you'll have to go back to what the Meiteis were. When we joined the Union of India, it was the king of Manipur who signed the merger agreement, no other than the king. And when we joined with Kabo Valley, which is in Burma, apparently given away by late Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister. And Churachandpur, being called Churachandpur, which is where the whole thing started off, is named after Churachand Maharaj. So basically what I want to say is that when we joined at that time, we were all owners of the land, all of us. I'm not saying Meitei alone, all of us. So I just went back to that history. And we were all seen as tribes, all of us. And then in 1951, after census, I think we were not given the ST tag. Then MLR LR Act 1960 deprived us. It was just applicable in the valley and certain areas, like in some areas in Moreh, some areas in Churachandpur. So we got restricted in that area. The valley area is, I'm told, less than 10%. But then again, if you take away Loktak area, the Kebulamjau area, we'll be left with probably 6 or 7%. And you have not only the Meiteis, which are the majority for people, you have the Meitei Muslims also staying here. You have everybody, the non-Manipuri Indians staying here. You have all the tribal brothers, most welcome, they're all staying here. So imagine that all of us are staying in this place, which is around 7% of the land. And if I've read somewhere that at the time of independence, India's population was only 34 crore. Today we are 140 crore, crossing China. And in 1951, the population of Manipur was 5.7 lakh. Today, in 2011 was the last census we had. We were like 28 or 29 lakh. So right now we must be almost hitting 40 lakh. So imagine a situation like 30, 40 years down the line, we'll probably be 1.5, 2 crore. Where do we go? I mean, there is going to be a massive bloodbath. I mean, really serious one then. So what I only suggest, like, for example, when you look at Himachal, which is also a part of India, and Himachal, I have a lot of friends in Himachal who are Rajputs, and they have orchards in Jubbal. So, I mean, Rajput is also, it cannot be termed as a scheduled tribe or a tribe. Rajputs are like way up in the Hindu hierarchy. And they're also, Himachal is a part of India. So is Manipur. So my problem is a lot with the land, because I am saying let's all sit across the table and share the resources of the state together.
No, so I understand what you're saying. You're saying that 90% of the territory of the state cannot belong exclusively to one section, denying the other section. But given the kind of violent response that has come in, even when this process could have been initiated, do you believe that there will be political will to execute this for you?
The whole startup was not just because of this issue as such.
Fair enough.
There were a lot of things brewing before that. You know, some people crossed over, and I believe they were staying in these forest land, and that's why the Honorable Chief Minister is trying to move them out, and few things were brewing. And then they had this peaceful march on the 3rd, where something happened, and you saw the Meiteis, we will say that this happened, where we saw people with AK-47s roaming around, you know, lighting up the villages. At the minority village, there is a minority Meitei village, and that video reached Imphal, and then it went berserk. So it went so berserk and so quickly that I think the administration wasn't prepared for that kind of speed and kind of intensity of violence.
But what do you make overall of the opposition to the tribal issue? Do you see this being achieved at all? You may have reasonable reasons from what you're saying and what everybody knows, that it sounds reasonable that all members of the state should share the entire state resources. But clearly that is being opposed vehemently.
You see, you know what? When I was in college also, I used to think about this. I mean, that's way, way long back, like almost 40 years back. But today, even in election campaign, this was very seriously in my agenda.
Sir, I seem to have lost your audio. I'll try and get that back. Let me also bring in Meeta Chakrabarti in the meantime. Meeta ji, the Home Minister is going to Manipur. He's going to be staying there for 3 days. The Congress has been very critical of the way the Manipur crisis has been handled. You're even asking for some time with the president. How do you look at this situation? What is it that you would hope that the government is able to achieve soon enough?
Well, I'm assuming that query was meant for me because I lost the audio for
yes, Meeta ji, for you, go ahead.
That's meant for me, right? Yeah, okay. So firstly, Manipur, the jewel of Northeast, has been burning. And 25 days later, I think it started from May 3rd, we still haven't been able to see normalcy in the state of Manipur. So for the principal opposition party, it is extremely painful. We are pained. We are very concerned about the situation in Manipur. More than 73 people have been reported dead. Many properties being burned down. The entire law and order of the state has collapsed. And hence a delegation led by the AICC president, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, is going to meet the honorable president of the nation to discuss the situation. Secondly, I thank the fact that in your channel, you are doing a very important show about the state of affairs in Manipur, because I think in a big section of the media, it has been completely ignored. I cannot understand a situation like this happening in any other state where more than 70 people have died and it not getting the kind of media attention that it really deserves. Thirdly, yes, we do appeal for peace, and we also appeal to the government of the day that at least there be a genuine political will to bring in some amount of dialogue between the two communities, because it's really distressful to see that despite Article 355 being imposed, there is no end to this violence. We see that when this disruption first happened, we saw how Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah went on campaigning in the state of Karnataka. Then Prime Minister was busy with his overseas trip. Then Prime Minister yesterday was obviously obsessed with his own self-coronation. So we believe that not enough is being done.
Okay.
Who is going to take responsibility for the lost lives, for the violence in the state of Manipur? Will the BJP state government take the responsibility? Will the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, take responsibility?
Okay,
we
fair
appeal
enough.
to
Those
the
are all
government
very
of the
legitimate
day
questions.
that
I have
more
limited
be
time.
done to get normalcy in the state of
Fair
Manipur.
enough. And I think that
and
will be
is
the challenge
exactly
for
what
both
we are
the
going
state
to
governments
raise
and the
tomorrow.
central governments. Very quickly, I only have about a minute or so left. I want to give Rami and Rajat 30 seconds each. But Mitaji, I want to understand from you, as the principal opposition, are you in agreement that the Meiteis need to be given more access to the land? Because without that fundamental question, I don't think any solution can come.
State resources have to be distributed between different communities living in the state. The problem is a solution. You will not be able to arrive at a solution in a television studio debate. It's a very sensitive issue. And I will be a responsible opposition by saying that there needs to be dialogue and discourse involving and engaging all communities living in the state so that we can arrive at a peaceful solution and move ahead.
But what do you do if one side is vehemently violent? Let me give Rajat and Rami 30 seconds each. Unfortunately, I don't have more time. But Rajat, where did it all go wrong? Historically speaking, I'm not trying to appropriate blame only on the current government because I know this is a historical issue. Where have we as a country gone wrong that this is happening in 2023 in India?
See, please understand that Manipur, unlike other states, is not a homogeneous monolith. Many states, you look at UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, they have one ethnicity broadly speaking, and they are homogeneous in nature. So you don't see such kind of conflicts. It is only and only in Manipur, not even Nagaland, Mizoram, and Tripura and other states. It's only Manipur where you have three communities entangled in a zero-sum game. Anything that you do for one community is seen at the cost of other two communities. So largely the state has become a tinderbox. It is waiting for any small spark to happen. That spark could be Naga Accord. If you sign the Naga Accord, the state will burn. If you do Kuki Accord, the state will burn. If you give ST status to Manipur, it will burn. These are 70-year-long problems. We have tried very hard in the past 5 years to ensure that the people of Manipur march forward. But till these wounds are not permanently addressed and solved, the situation clearly says that you cannot march forward. You need to address those issues that Nishikantji is raising. That land is an issue, is a very sensitive issue. Let us solve this issue before we march forward on a peace and progress route.
Okay. Rami,
so that's where the...
After Rami ji, give me 10 seconds.
Okay, Rami, is that possible? Given the very heightened tensions, is it possible that this land issue can be sorted out?
Right.
Shivani, we have to go down to the crux of it. We have to follow the rule of the land. Just because you have objections and you do not agree with a certain decision, dissent cannot turn into anarchy. The procedure for inclusion into a scheduled tribe list, the state can refer a tribe to be included, and then it goes on to NCST, it goes on to the tribal ministry, so on and so forth. So there's nothing wrong in the state following the procedure and the High Court suggesting it. Now, violence cannot be the reaction to procedures, and that is one thing we have to sort of come on a table and have a consensus that violence cannot be a reaction to something that you object to.
Right.
And once that, is on the table, a dialogue can happen. But this sort of reaction to just a suggestion, and I'll tell you another thing, it started off with this, and the whole debate has gone on to the demand for sixth schedule in the autonomous regions, councils. Your target point cannot change from one thing to another. Now the other debate is, there isn't enough development in the hill regions. Figure out, what are you objecting to? What is this reaction for? Come on the table with some amount of respect for, the rule of law.
All right. I have to give 10 seconds to Nishikantji as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Though I am an MLA, I am not supposed to take sides, and I am not taking sides. As a Maitai, I am asking for every son of the soil of the state of Manipur deserves a level playing field, right? So that's what I'm asking for. So in that, the land has to be considered, and you can have whatever scheduled caste quotas, by and large, you can work it out. Here, in a situation, if you look at the future, the Maitais will lose out the land, plus, their scope for jobs are very less.
Okay.
So
No,
that will
understood.
naturally drive people a little crazy. So
Absolutely.
I think we're just asking for level playing field. That's it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see what the Home Ministry can achieve. But one thing is clear, there can be zero tolerance for violence and terrorism in the name of ethnic or identity issues. That certainly, as a country, we cannot tolerate, because that license cannot be given to anybody. I do thank our guests for joining us. Moving on, the new Parliament building was inaugurated yesterday, and while there has been a lot of politics over the same, what has also caught the eye of many is the wonderful art on display inside the Parliament building, reflecting Indian culture and traditions. Let me first give you an overview of the artwork inside. So reports suggest that there are as many as 5,000 big and small art installations inside the new Parliament building. Roughly 200 crore rupees have been spent just on the artwork and other installations. Most of these narrate the stories of India's democratic traditions from the past. Each wall inside the building, in fact, showcases a different theme. A special emphasis has also been given to Indian arts history. For example, there are 3 galleries devoted just for this. There is the Kala Gallery, which exhibits dance, song and musical traditions of India. There's the Saptya Gallery, which depicts architectural heritage of the country, and a Shilp Gallery, which showcases distinct handiwork traditions of different states from the country. Just the sheer scale and breadth of the topics of these artworks is mind-boggling, showing the deep care that has been taken in including them. Let me give you a brief of some of the most notable works. So there is this massive Samudra Manthan mural on one of the entire walls of the Parliament. There is also an ancient India map, which people are referring to as an Akhand Bharat map, with cities and kingdoms of the past. There is also an artistic representation of the Jan 26, 1950 night sky on one of the ceilings. There is a Konark Chakra, a chariot wheel from Sun Temple in Konark, and there are statues at 6 entry and exit points inspired by ancient Indian culture. So clearly the new Parliament is putting art in the state of the art. 2 of these artists who have worked on these installations are now joining us. I'm joined by Jaya Jaitley, who's an Indian politician, but also the founder and president of the Dastkari Haat Samiti. She has put together the Shilp Gallery for Indian handicrafts, and Naresh Kumawat has made the bronze installations of the Samudra Manthan and the Patel and Ambedkar bronze plaque together. Jayaji, let me start with you. An overall view on the emphasis that has been given on the art and artifacts, including handicrafts in your case, the vision with which this new Parliament has been adorned with art and more. How does that make you feel?
Well, this is very clearly the Prime Minister's vision, because I have heard him personally speak at many occasions where he has mentioned so many crafts. He likes to display the gamcha. His turban is always a crafted fabric. And I think the amount he has traveled all over India during his life and touched practically every village, he knows everything. There was a textile exhibition conference, kind of big show in Ahmedabad a few years ago. And actually I had designed in Banaras at that time the words of Kabir woven into a stole.
Right.
So that was there for some other project I did. But when the PM visited Banaras, that craftsperson gave the PM this stole. So at this big textile conference where I was also there, this craftsman was there back of the hall. In his speech, he was talking about what fabric is famous in which state. Then he pointed to this craftsperson and said, I can see you here, you gave me a stole. That is the level of his sharp eye and understanding of craft. It's quite amazing. I don't think men normally bother unless they're craftspeople themselves.
Right.
So it was definitely him, because nobody else would have conceived of such a thing. It's such a large scale. So
yes.
At our first meeting, which was then the advisory committee, the chief architect, he said that we want a lot of art and craft. And when he mentioned craft, I realized I was the only person working in craft in that committee. So I said, I'm very proud. I'm going to take this seriously. And I would very happy that you are mentioning the word craft, because otherwise it's a very casual, common thing. Nobody bothers too much either about the craftspeople or us who work in craft so much.
Yeah. We're running some of the pictures of what Jaya Jaitley ji and Naresh Kumar ji have been involved in making. I will ask them about this, but Naresh ji, I want to begin by taking your opening thoughts as well. How do you feel as an artist when the new parliament was inaugurated and all of these works of art, including yours, were appreciated so much?
As Jaya ma'am says correctly that the Prime Minister is very particular about each and everything, and he personally takes interest in all this kind of craft works and sculptures. So when IGNC has asked me to design something inspired by the Angkor Wat, then we have just Indianized the sculpture and the sketch and the models, which has been approved by them, and then later we casted the same in a like mammoth, such a big scale,
yes,
which is 75 feet by 9 feet. So I believe that this is one of the tallest, longest, I would say, relief sculpture, which is being installed in Parliament, and it's a proud moment for all of us.
So that's the Samudra Manthan that you have depicted. You've also made the bronze installation where you've put Ambedkar and Patel together. So can you share with me what was the thought process like and how much time did it take you to make these?
Ambedkar and Patel statue was like, they are both on the same platform. So it was the symbol of unity. So this was supposed to gel with the opposite wall, which is designed as that wheel, times wheel. So we just take it spherical. We took it spherical, and then I need to blend both the sculptures all together on the same platform. So it was a very limited time though, but we could have done it. We just prepared a clay model first. We took a lot of reference from the IGNC and Google, of course, and then we carved these sculptures. And as far as Samudra Manthan is concerned, it took me around 10 months to sculpt that one. Last September, I have been approached by IGNC to design and sculpt this particular Samudra Manthan sculpture. And then I designed that small scale model, and then 1:1 scale model, then multiple pieces. Around 40-45 people, we were working day and night on this. And the result is in front of you all. So I'm very happy about it.
No, absolutely. You can be absolutely proud of it. Jaya ji, why don't you share with me what you have featured, because you've taken control of that handicrafts gallery. How many artisans did you work with, and how did you envisage this gallery?
They gave me very quickly, just rattled off 8 subjects. Now those 8 subjects were Samrasta, Asta, Yatra, Prakriti, Parv, Swavlamban, Ullas, and Gyan. So we started from about end of April, contacting 300 craftspeople all over, because all these 8 pieces, I had conceived of them entirely to be made by hand. They would send the pieces. So for Samrasta, we did block prints, blocks of printing blocks. And those who did not do printing, we got the carvings or whatever woodwork they do. So it was woodwork from all over the country, but shown mostly as printing blocks, because they are beautiful blocks. All the blocks, some of them are, kept for 200 years with them. So they shared those. And we merged it with metalwork from all over the country. And metalwork involved locks and keys and cooking implements, including very nice artistic decorative pieces also. I wanted to bring in the common man's metal as well. So that piece, Samrasta, which was harmony or unity in diversity, was diverse woodwork, diverse metal, both coming together. So it was many layers of harmony and diversity. And Asta, I was very particular, in fact, in all of them, to rise above any ideology or any religion. So in Asta, which means faith, you would normally think that, that immediately your mind would go to religion. So I did say that, look, when it's religion, what is common in all religions? And that is the use of the prayer bead. But we don't want to mention religion at all.
Right.
But so I said, beyond our own individual religious faiths, we may believe in one God or the other or not at all. We should have faith in the soil of our own country. I wanted to therefore rise above religion and talk about how every Indian, we are born from the soil, we go back into the soil. When our students, our children go abroad, when they come back, they touch their forehead with the earth of our country. And I felt that all of us have so much faith in our country, or hope, faith, whatever you may call it. So I decided to get the soil from the entire country.
Right.
So every state and union territory, we either acquired pottery or we had something made. And some states didn't have it. Like Andaman, very difficult to get the pottery. You had to cross a very dangerous island and so on. So we got the sand from outside the Andaman jail and made the potter here make a prison bars with a lock. So like that, we got mud from Meghalaya, soil from Meghalaya, which does not do pottery. And I was very proud that every bit of the soil of this country was reflected there, as this is all the people who must have faith in our soil. Yatra, I chose Banaras. People may directly think, oh, it was because the Prime Minister's constituency, but not at all. Banaras is the oldest continuously living city, which was never destroyed in the world. Nobody knows when it was established.
Set up,
Then India civilization is one of a few which never got destroyed. Our civilization, like China's or Egypt, has been carrying on. But most of the other civilizations have crumbled. Ours is still there, very much, very strong. And the Ganga flows forever. So what we did was we photographed the individually sections of the ghats and with the Ganga. An exact representation of that was done in drawings. Then it was made into a graph. Then it needed to be 45,000 jacquards, otherwise known as khaka. 45,000 had to be made. And then the weaving started. And we made it in silver and gold zari.
Yes.
The entire banks of the Ganga exactly replicated, almost 8 feet.
Yes. Those are the images actually of that artwork that Jaya Jaitley is talking about. So, Nareshji, the whole focus on Indian civilization and Indianness, whatever that may mean for different people, that's the crux of the artwork and the new building. There may be some critics of it as well, but how does that make you feel? The fact that Indian ethos and Indian civilization is on display through artworks of artists like yourself.
As an artist, this is a very rare opportunity for us, and I feel myself very fortunate that I could be the part of this संसद, like जो मंदिर है संविधान का. So उसका हिस्सा बनना अपने आप में like it's fortunate for me. और सबसे ज्यादा अच्छा ये लगा कि कैसे accumulative efforts को एक साथ एक डायस्पोरा पे दिखाना, एक स्कल्पचर के अंदर दिखाना. So समुद्र मंथन उसका सबसे बड़ा सिंबल है कि सबका साथ और सबका विकास और सबका प्रयास उसके अंदर पूरी तरह से हमने दर्शाया. So अच्छा लगता है उसका हिस्सा बनना.
Right. Ajay, you also talked about it. Would you agree, as some may say, that this is a new dawn for India, the country and the civilization? A building which is not just for legislatures, but also something that every Indian can be proud of. Every state has contributed in not just the artworks that you're talking about, but even in the construction, wood, metal, rocks. It's come from all across the country. Is this a new dawn for India?
Civilization is something that we will have to probably leave to historians after us,
right,
to see where it fits into our civilization. But I think we have all, each one of us, Narendra ji or my crafts people, or every little ordinary mazdoor who has worked there, they have all contributed. Indians' sweat and Indian toil and Indian vision, Indian skill has all contributed to build a purely, totally Indian parliament. The other one everyone was sitting in was British. And today there are some people who say, oh, what was there wrong with the other parliament? Are they not realizing that they are longing for the British parliament? Do they not feel proud of being Indian? Aren't they representing India with Indians voting for them? So I would say, I hope this is a very splendid answer to love their country. And one thing I keep saying, partly joking, is that art and culture is always supposed to soften the rough edges of society. So all the jagda and chillana that goes on there, maybe andar jate or coming out, they will feel, oh, achhi jagah hai, and maybe their mood will soften.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope that. In fact, we look forward to less acrimony in the new parliament. And actually, I'm quite worried about the infrastructure there as well. Because in the past, we've seen cases where people pull mics and throw this and that. I hope they respect the new parliament and its, all of its infrastructure. But on the issue of Indianness, Naresh ji, पहले इंडियननेस पे कम फोकस होता था और हमारी इतनी स्टोरीज हैं, इंडिया की खुद की इतनी स्टोरीज हैं जो इस देश से आई हैं, तो अब अच्छा लगता है कि इंडियन आर्टिस्ट को इंडियन स्टोरीज पे काम करने का मौका मिल रहा है।
तो कलाकार अपने आप को तभी उभार सकता है जब मौका मिले, अपॉर्चुनिटी मिले, और हमें ये मौका मिला कि हम अपने काम को, एक हाइपर रियलिस्टिक काम को वहां पे दिखा सकें। और जब उसमें इंडियनाइज कल्चर सारा, जैसे जय जी ने बताया पूरा कि किस तरह से उन्होंने देश के हर एक कोने से मिट्टी ला करके स्कल्पचर्स बनाए, वहां पे सब तैयारियां की। वैसे ही मुझे जब ये एक समुद्र मंथन का काम मिला जिसको इंडियनाइज तरीके से दिखाना था, सो वो एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत उसका नजारा और खूबसूरती उस बिल्डिंग को यूनिक बनाता है। सो ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी बहुत अच्छी लगी जो हमें मौका मिला एज एन आर्टिस्ट। So we feel fortunate about it.
All right, I'll leave it at that. Many congratulations to both of you and to all the artists who have worked on the artwork inside the new Indian Parliament. And it will certainly be a building that all of us can be proud of, and hopefully more people will get to see these artworks inside. Time for a very short break. On the other side, all eyes are at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, where Hardik Pandya's Gujarat Titans will battle with Mahendra Singh Dhoni's Chennai. What do the rain gods have in store? That's the biggest question on everyone's mind. We'll get you updates in just a bit.
With the cookies earlier, actually, how it started was the cookies started protesting against the SC status to be given to the militants for certain reasons that both the communities cited. But later on, a lot of forces, outward forces came in, and then the violence also spread into the state, around the state. It started in particularly when the first incident of violence started, it was in Surachandpur and the areas adjacent to it, where the Kukis and the Meiteis are inhabiting. But the point is that later on, quite a few outward forces started acting on it, and the violence spread like anything. And it's been like 1 month now that the internet is suspended in the state of Manipur. It will be extended until 31st May. But we can see a lot of Manipuri people actually being very much active on internet. So how they are acting, are there forces outside the state who are trying to spread a propaganda for our communities or for both the communities, are still will have to be made out. But we can see that this is until 31st of May, internet is banned in the state. It's been almost a month there of internet ban in the state, of these kind of violence coming in from the state. So many thousands of people have lost their lives.
Right.
Over 70 people have lost their lives.
All right, Preeti, thank you for giving us all those details. We'll keep tracking this story for more updates. As the tensions continue in the northeastern state of Manipur, Chief Minister Biren Singh has appealed to the people to maintain calm in the state. Chief Minister further added that over 40 armed Kukis have been gunned down by the security forces in the state. Meanwhile, the army and Assam rifles are deployed in sensitive areas, and the internet services will be remaining shut till May 31st.
No, just mass combing operations along with the helicopter surveillance has started, and we're trying to find out if the culprits, those militants who are attacking the civilians.
Our Honorable Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah ji, is coming to Manipur for the 3 days. So we request and appeal to him to take the necessary steps and action as early as possible in his journey, because this is not a time to negotiate and this is not a time to talk about the peace, because if this action is not taken to the earliest, the Manipur will vanish.
CNN News 18's Preeti is joining us on this story. Preeti, can you tell us what is the current situation in the state of Manipur?
There are fresh reports of violence coming in every day from the state of Manipur, the violence in the state of Manipur. And even yesterday also we could see that MLA K. Raghumani's house was attacked by an unruly mob, where one person was also injured by a bullet. So you see, every day there are also this kind of incidents. This was the fourth instance that came in 1 week of attacks being happening on political leaders. So today the Union Home Minister Amit Shah also had to visit Manipur. They are expecting him today, but because the situations there in Manipur are still not much in favor of any kind of a political leader being there, because you see in the last 1 week itself, 4 attacks have happened on political leaders. And yesterday, one person was also injured. And along with that, we can see that yesterday Chief Minister Biren Singh made a huge revelation where he stated that there are militants who are working with arms, and almost 33 militants have been killed in retaliation by the armed forces. He has stated that the state is very much concerned about the peace and security of the state, but yes, some militants who are working on behalf of certain communities are coming in, and then they are trying to create disturbance in the state, due to which the reports of violence are coming in every day from the violence state of Manipur.
Preeti, how many civilian casualties have been reported so far?
So far, as per official reports, there are over 70 people who have lost their lives, and also it was stated yesterday that 33 militants have been killed in retaliation by the armed forces in Manipur.
So what led to this violence in the state? What was the cause of these groups clashing with each other?
Actually, the main, whatever we can see on the surface is about the reservation, about the ST status being claimed by the Maitris in the state, on which the Cookies earlier, actually, how it started was the Cookies started protesting against the ST status to be given to the Maitris for certain reasons that both the communities cited. But later on, a lot of forces, outward forces came in, and then the violence also spread into the state, around the state. It started in particularly when the first incident of violence started, it was in Surachandpur and the areas adjacent to it, where the Cookies and the Meiteis are inhabiting. But the point is that later on, quite a few outward forces started acting on it, and the violence spread like anything, and it's been like 1 month now that the internet is suspended in the state of Manipur. It will be extended until 31st May. But we can see a lot of Manipuri people actually being very much active on internet. So how they are acting, are their forces?
The final of the 2023 Indian Premier League on Sunday was washed out due to relentless rain in Ahmedabad and subsequently moved to today. Gujarat Titans, remember, are taking on Chennai Super Kings to become the first side to win back-to-back IPL titles. Meanwhile, Chennai are chasing their record-equaling 5th title. This match has also gained significance because this could be MS Dhoni's final IPL match, even though the former Indian captain has not quite revealed his decision. Right now, though, all attention is on the weather. So here's the latest update. Earlier forecasts showed about 40 to 60% chances of rain, but now the precipitation chance has actually gone down to just 5-6% till 7 p.m. There will be cloudy weather that is expected to remain for the whole evening and the match, but there is currently no chance of rain post 7 p.m. in the city. The temperatures will be around 31 to 35 degrees Celsius. I'm also joined by former India cricketer Nikhil Chopra and sports commentator Ayaz Memon joining us. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Nikhil, let me ask you, there is some chance of rain today. We don't quite know. There could be some uncertainty. But I want to understand from you, what kind of difference does this make to a team's planning and strategy when you don't quite know how many overs the game will have?
Without a doubt, and it always helps before the toss. That if it's a rain curtailed game, say you get a 10 over a side or maybe 8 over the side, then before the toss you can plan your teams better. But if the flip of the coin happens, then the rain comes, and then it gets a curtailed game, then I guess the planning goes out for a bit of a toss. But fingers crossed, hopefully we'll get a full game today. That's what the predictions. If there is a little bit of rain, you might get it at about 8:39. So,
yeah. But give me a sense of what you make of this matchup. Obviously, Gujarat Titans have had the more superior season. They've looked the more superior side. But Chennai have peaked at the right time. They've looked good in the last 4. And they have Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who's a master, tactician. So how do you look at this matchup?
Well, in the last couple of games, if you look at GT, I guess Shubman Gill has been batting like a dream. And God bless him for that. And hopefully he continues batting like that. But if you look at the other guys in that middle order, not a lot of contributions have come through, whether it's a Hardik, whether it's a Miller, all match winners in their right. But not a lot of guys have come out and got the runs, as you would imagine. And just before the final, you would expect some of your middle order guys to go out there and get a hit. But on the other side, for Chennai, at least you've got Ruturaj, you've got Devon Conway, Shivam Dubey has had a very good season as well. So guys have been contributing in the middle as well. Ajinkya Rahane, like we've been calling him Ajinkya Rahane 2.0 with the strike rate that he's been batting. So phenomenal. So I guess, God forbid, and I say that I don't see that happen, that Shubman Gill gets out, then who's going to take on that responsibility for GT?
The Gujarat Titans.
So it's going to be a close game, I think. I don't know. Because Mahendra Singh Dhoni, like rightly you mentioned, him being there, if GT has to defend their title, they're up, it'll be an uphill task for them. Because don't forget, this is the mastermind that we're talking about with Mahendra Singh Dhoni, looking to control the game as well.
Yes. I want to understand from you, he rightly mentioned that because Shubman has done so well, not many others have had to contribute or, have been required. But on the other side, if you look at the Chennai lower middle order with Moeen Ali and with Ambati Rayudu, they've also not clicked this season. Plus, GT have the more superior bowling side with the top 3 bowlers of the season. So, do you believe GT do start with that kind of an advantage over a Chennai team, even though it's a Chennai helmed by Dhoni?
Well, I mean, you only look, when you look at it, there are many things which favor GT. They're playing at home. This is their home turf. They've got great depth in batting and bowling. Nikhil mentioned about some of the middle order batsmen not even getting a chance. But that's because Shubman has been fantastic. And, he's formed a very good opening partnership with Riddhiman Saha. So there's not been too much pressure on the middle order batsmen for Gujarat. But, this could be a threat. It could be a vulnerability. But let's also not forget that the last time these two teams met was in the qualifier when Chennai won. And that's why they moved into the final straight away. So, I mean, psychologically, you would imagine that Chennai will be walking into the field far more confident than one can, never mind if they're playing away from home. I think that Chennai, as and the X factor is obviously Mahendra Singh Dhoni. There's been so much talk around him, whether he's going to retire or not. I think right now that should be suspended. Even if he comes out to bat 7, 8, 10 deliveries, which he's been doing through the season, he's making that little bit of an impact. I think the T20 format, and especially with the impact player rule coming in the IPL, has also evolved very differently. But Dhoni behind the stumps and with his field settings and bowling changes, I don't think that anybody can take this team lightly at all.
Yeah. And do you think that Dhoni, if they win the title, will say, okay, this is as good as a swan song I can have?
Yeah, I wish you would listen to me, Shivani. But I think, what I mentioned is that with this impact player rule coming in, I mean, now Dhoni can well be playing just 8 or 9 deliveries in the match, and then the rest of his contribution comes as a captain. Does he fancy that? Does he fancy that is the big question, because as he himself mentions, there's 8-9 months. I think after a certain age and having played for so long, it can get a little fatiguing, just the travel and being around, and it's not the playing, but everything else around it.
Yes, and he did
the
talk
owners
about
and the
how
responsibility.
preparing himself for this season in itself takes 2 months because he's not a 12-month cricketer anymore. I have limited time. Let me quickly take Nikhil's opinion on Shubman Gill. Obviously, he's the man of the moment. Is this the best you've seen a batsman when he's at the top of his form? And I know there are comparisons being made with Kohli and all, possibly premature. But what do you make of his batting right now?
Well, from Shubman Gill's point of view as well, and let me start by saying at least it's a lot of hard work paying off. And I say that because I know for a fact that he's publicly admitted to the fact that he spent a lot of time with Virat Kohli. How does he go about his practice? The thought processes when he's looking to chase down a target or when he's going to go and bat. How does he start? So there's a lot of learning coming his way as well. He spent a lot of time with the master himself, and he's trying to absorb and learn from everywhere he possibly can. And he realizes the value of his wicket. And the good thing is when he gets to his 20s or 30s, he's starting to learn how to convert them. Very rarely do you see a Shubman Gill batting on 20 or 30 and he'll play a loose stroke in terms of saying, oh, he might get out now. He might, get out the next over or so. No disrespect to a lot of other batsmen, but even if they get a 30 or a 40, you're always on the edge of your seat. These guys might get out now. This guy might get out now. And once he gets to his 20 and 30s, you look at him, look for those boundaries. He's looking to get those boundaries in, say, a no-risk zone, as and when the situation demands. And when he's completely sure that he can clear the fence, it's only then that he looks to clear the fielder, to go over the fielder's head as well. So a lot of game sense I see that has been developed by Shubman Gill. So I just hope this purple patch continues because we've got a lot of international cricket coming our way as well. So fingers crossed, he'll just keep learning and evolving.
Ayaz, I've only got a final minute. You want to say something about Shubman Gill? Could he have a lot of pressure on him today to deliver?
I think he's relishing the pressure right now, Shivani, because I think he's come to a stage where, batsmen or players at the international level take a quantum jump. You're a fine player, you become a good player, from a good to a very good player, then you're on that threshold of touching the heights which define greatness. Now, I'm not saying he's already great. We should be a little, we shouldn't be hasty about these things, but he's poised. You can see a whole galaxy of batsmen in the past who had that one season or 1 year, 1.5 years when they make this transition. And I can see Shubman Gill in that phase right now, maybe for the last 6-8 months.
Yeah, and let's hope it continues for another year because we've got so many important tournaments coming in. All right, time for final predictions. Nikhil, why don't you go first? Are you going to stick your neck out or sit on the fence?
I like to sit on the fence and just enjoy the spectacle, to be honest. But maybe Chennai. I think Chennai might be just, say, 51-49 or 52-48 in favor of Chennai. Put it this way.
Ayaz, you agree with that? I don't know why everybody's leaning towards Chennai. I think it's the Dhoni factor.
It is. I think the sentimental attachment to factor is very strong. But I really think it's going to be a match. We've spoken about Shubman. I think the bowlers hold the key here. Shami and Rashid Khan for Gujarat. And obviously for Chennai. I think Ravindra Jadeja is somebody we've not talked about, but he'll be a very crucial, very central figure in this match. Apart, of course, from Deepak Chahar when he's bowling to Gill at the start.
All right. Many matches, of course, to watch out for. But let's just hope, gentlemen, as I thank you, that we do have a full match. We don't really want a curtailed match because that will take the sting out of the IPL final. A big thanks to Nikhil and Ayaz for joining us. On that note, time for me to take your leave. This is the end of Plain Speak. News Epicenter is coming up next.
The Congress has taken hugely. Just compare this to 2018. This is 2023 right now, 2018. Look at the sea of saffron here. It was BJP 34 out of 56, the Congress only 19. But this time around in Karnataka, it's almost the opposite story.
The counting has begun. We have got the first call. First one we are getting from Bellary City, constituency number 94, Zaka.
The Reddy brothers, Somshekhar Reddy of the BJP is fighting. His brother Gali Janardhan Reddy has formed his own party.
Talking about Ramnagar.
Assembly constituency has around 1.5 to 2 lakh voters, which means even if it is a voting percentage of 70 or 65, still it's a substantial number of votes which is yet to be counted.
Look at some of these rebels, some of them are winning. For example, Lakshman Sawadi has won. And Jagdish Shettar was a former chief minister, 6-time sitting MLA from Hubli Dharwar Central. He's not winning.
Congress has sent out the news, ladies and gentlemen, an update. The Congress has asked all its candidates to come to Bengaluru.
With me, Maria Shakil. In the wake of the Shraddha Walker murder case, another gruesome crime in the national capital has shaken the conscience of the nation. A 16-year-old girl was murdered in public by her alleged boyfriend in the Rohini area of North Delhi. She was stabbed 40 times and then killed to death with a rock. As bystanders did nothing, they watched the killing unfold. The Delhi police launched a manhunt for the accused, a man named Sahil, who was arrested 20 hours later in Bulandshahr in Uttar Pradesh. The victim's family has said they were unaware of any relationship with the accused and have demanded the death penalty. Politics has also erupted over the case, with the Aam Aadmi Party blaming the Lieutenant Governor for the breakdown of law and order. The BJP, meanwhile, has said that the guilty will not be spared and he will face the full force of the law. But the big question remains, could this young girl, a teenager, have been saved by the bystanders? Who could have intervened and stopped this atrocity? Did these bystanders betray another Beti of India?
Stabbed 40 times. Kicked and bludgeoned with a rock. This horror from the national capital has sent shockwaves across the nation. A 16-year-old girl murdered in public by her alleged boyfriend in North Delhi's Rohini area. The whole murder was caught on CCTV, but the most shocking detail is the multiple bystanders who simply walked past this atrocity.
ये वही स्पॉट है, इसी जगह पर लड़की को गिराकर उसके ऊपर चाकुओं से हमला किया गया था। उसके बाद उसके बाल खींचे गए थे। जब वो पूरी तरह से अधमरी हो गई थी तो उसके बाद आरोपी युवक इस तरफ को भागा और उसके बाद फिर वापस आकर उसने इसी जगह पर यहाँ पर जो बड़ा पत्थर उसके हाथ में था उससे कई बार वार किए थे। और जिस वक्त ये पूरा घटनाक्रम हुआ था उस वक्त यहाँ पर कई लोग घूम रहे थे।
The Delhi police launched a manhunt for the accused Sahil. 20 hours after the murder, he was nabbed in Bulandshahr in Uttar Pradesh.
Gruesome attack, multiple stab and also using a stone to smash the face and the head. So we have arrested the accused, let the accused come. We will collect the best possible evidence such that the strictest possible punishment is given to the accused.
The distraught family says they were unaware of any relationship between the victim and the accused. They have demanded the death penalty, saying only that will deliver true justice.
मुझे इंसाफ चाहिए सर, फांसी चाहिए उसको। अगर जेल में बंद होगा तो फिर छूट जाएगा। आज मेरे साथ किया, कल दूसरे साथ फिर करेगा वो। इस नाते उसको जो है सजा दे।
But a political fight has ensued over this gruesome murder. The Aam Aadmi Party has taken a direct shot at the LG, accusing him of the breakdown of law and order.
जो आप 24 घंटे लगाते हैं अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के काम को रोकने में, आप उसमें से आधा समय तो दिल्ली की महिलाओं को सुरक्षा देने में लगाइए। अगर आप दिल्ली की महिलाओं को सुरक्षा नहीं दे सकते, तो आप एक संवैधानिक पद पे बैठे क्यों हुए हैं?
मैं पूछना चाहता हूं एलजी साहब से, 1 साल हुए उनको आए हुए दिल्ली में, और 1 साल के अंदर दिल्ली की कानून व्यवस्था का सत्यानाश कर दिया, बेड़ा गर्क कर दिया।
The BJP, on the other hand, has promised swift action against the accused.
करें क्या, बहुत तकलीफ में है सब लोग,
पुलिस को बोला कि एकदम लोगों में मैसेज जाना चाहिए कि अगर कोई क्राइम करता है तो उसको सज़ा ज़रूरी है, बहुत ज़रूरी है, सख्ती से होना चाहिए।
BJP MP Gautam Gambhir meanwhile took to Twitter, calling the bystanders animals who did nothing as the young girl was murdered. Since the Shraddha Walkar murder case, this cold-blooded killing has shaken the conscience of the nation once again. While the accused is in custody, the big question remains, did the bystanders betray Delhi's daughter? Are they also responsible for her death?
Joining me first on the show is DCW Chief Swati Maliwal. Swati, really appreciate your time. You have sent a notice to police over the incident. We have seen similar cases of violence and brutality. The sheer brutality with which women are being treated, and it is happening in full public view. While you think that it's a situation of law and order, but what about public at large? Aren't they responsible for just being bystanders and viewing a spectacle unfold?
I think clearly it is a law and order problem, and I think criminals are extremely emboldened in our country. People really feel that they'll be able to get away with any kind of worse and worse crime against women. And I think that is the root cause of the problem. If you look at this particular incident, 16-year-old girl, she was right there. This man stabbed her multiple number of times, even beat her up with bricks. And I mean, I think he didn't even end his torment until she died. So I think it's a very, very, very shocking, scary matter. And where is the police? What is the law and order in our country? Why is it that there is no certainty and swiftness of punishment in each and every case? Until that is achieved, I really don't think that much will change. You see, there is the entire system is giving away this message that the system is standing with the rapists, system is standing with the murderers, whether it is Biren Singh and the wrestlers case, whether it is the Chawla rape victims case, who was gang raped when she was 19, murdered brutally in 2012, acid was thrown into her eyes. She died a very painful death, and the rapists just walked scot-free after 10 years because the Delhi police had not done proper investigation according to the court. So I think that all the messaging in this country is just emboldening rapists, and I think that is the root cause of the problem.
Yes, and Swati, since you speak about the law and order, what is also happening here is that law and order in Delhi seems to be caught between the centre and the state. Arvind Kejriwal is questioning the Lieutenant Governor. You have demanded a meeting. For the people of Delhi, they are caught in this tussle for decades, and girls are caught in this crossfire. So what really is the solution then?
I totally agree with you, and that is what I want to stop. You see, I've been the Delhi Commission for Women chairperson for now significant number of years, and every time I'm requesting one thing: let's at least meet. Anjali's case happened. The Delhi government and the central government did not meet. Aftab and Shraddha Walkar case happened. They did not meet. This case has happened. At least let us meet. Let the Chief Minister, let the LG, let the Home Minister of the country to whom the Delhi Police directly reports, the Police Commissioner and the Delhi Commission for Women. Let us at least meet. Please hear us out. It is not just Anjali's case or the 16-year-old girl's case. Every day, the Delhi Commission for Women is receiving over 500 women and girls who are physically coming to the commission. On a daily basis, 2,000 plus calls are being received on our 181 Women's Helpline. More than 6 rape cases are being reported in Delhi on a daily basis. We are unfortunately becoming the crime capital of the country. So why is it happening? If the central government, which is responsible for looking after the police, and the Delhi government, which is responsible for various other things, including improving last mile connectivity, making toilets better, making street lights better, if these two governments do not sit together on the same table on an issue like this, I really don't think much will happen, because we need certainty intensity and swiftness of punishment, for which a lot of things need to be done. And the most important is that the messaging from both the government should be, we are together in tackling crime. And how will that happen if they do not sit together?
You know, Swati, what is even more harrowing in these cases is that it is the partner who killed, you know, in this particular case, in full public view, and everybody is a spectator. Can something be done to sensitize people?
Really, that was the most shocking aspect of this case, because you see the CCTV footage very categorically shows there are women who are just walking past. There are men who are walking past. I think if maybe one person also would have had the guts and would have started screaming and shouting at the top of their lungs, probably this man would have left this girl and she might have been alive today. I really don't understand what kind of a desensitized society are we living in. I mean, how are these people able to not even turn back at the kind of screaming that this girl must have been, doing? It's horrible, horrible, horrible. And I really feel that people at large have started feeling that nothing will happen, nothing will change.
Yes.
Even if they will try and help, probably nothing will happen. Probably the police will trouble them. Otherwise, how is it that people can be so inhuman that they're just able to walk away? So I think that the level of brutality is definitely extremely high. The way this girl has been murdered, I mean, it is beyond humanity, beyond understanding. How is it that a girl can be murdered so brutally, and all the men and women who just passed by fail to help, fail to even take notice? I mean, there were women who just walked by. They did not even turn